Good morning. I'm going to start transplanting things in here, or planting things in here now. But you know, I got to thinking about it. And generally, when you put things in a hydroponic or an aquaponic floating raft system, you know, you generally transplant them into a cup like this first. Now, there's a lot of materials you can use, but you know, the whole process generally involves growing it somewhere else first until it's, you know, big enough to transplant, and then transplant it into something like this. And what that involves is, you know, digging it up out of your grow tray or whatever and separating the roots and doing all those kinds of things. It's tedious, and also it's a little hard on the plants. So, you know, they're going to end up in something like this. Get it closer here. So they're going to end up in something like that that's going to go in one of these little holes. So my thought was, how do you avoid transplanting? Why don't you just, you know, just plant it right in there? Well, the first place, there's a lot of seeds that if you just did that and you had some kind of soil or potting mixture or something in here, they won't germinate if they're just absolutely soaked, which this is going to do to it. Now, some do fine, like most lettuce seeds, they germinate fine if they're absolutely soaked. But I have found, at least, like melon seeds, you know, like cantaloupe, cucumbers, things like that, they don't germinate very well if they're just soaked. You know, they need something damp, but not soaked. So I thought, well, how do you avoid that and not transplant them? So I came up with an idea. It's, well, why don't you just plant the seed in here to begin with? And, well, how do you do that without, you know, soaking it down to the point where, you know, it won't grow? I have an idea. Let me show you. Okay, this is my south greenhouse, as I call it. And my idea, I was thinking, why not do kind of like the nursery people do? You know, what they'll do is they'll plant a whole bunch of plants, you know, in something like that, and they'll fill it full of soil, put it in something like this, you know, but it's made for that, and you just, you know, basically fill it up with dirt, plant each one, and water it, and then, but they sell them like this. These are not going to be put into an aquaponic or a hydroponic setup. Well, how can you do both? Well, I thought, why not just fill this little tray with nice topsoil, and then what you do is you take one of your cups, your growing medium cups, and you basically work it down in here, you know, so the soil is just about as deep as the, you know, the cup is tall, and so you work these down in there, you know, and then what you do is you put enough soil in them, and you plant your seeds, and then, you know, put a little more soil on top to cover the seeds so they'll germinate. And then you water the whole thing just like a nursery operation would. Now, the theory is that this is a lot easier to do for these little cups because you've got a watering tray, everything will stay moist and more even, so it should grow quite well. And when they are tall enough to be removed out of this, which means, you know, the roots will start coming out of one of these pots, what you do, say you have a plant here and it's maybe this tall. So you go, aha, it's time to transplant it. Now all you do is you pull it out of here, and it may have some roots dangling from it, but that's about all the damage that you do. And then you go over to your hydroponic or your aquaponic, or like right here, floating raft setup, and you just drop it in, and the plant should just take off. Now there's no transplanting involved. If you lose some of this topsoil into the water, that's probably okay. It's not going to hurt anything. So, you know, that's what I'm going to try to do. So I'm going to fill up the rest of these with a bunch more of these cups, and I'm going to plant cabbage and peppers and some tomatoes. I've already got some tomatoes going pretty good somewhere else. but not for the aquaponics, hydroponics. These are for dirt. But I'm going to put some tomatoes in here, cabbage, and maybe some beans. And then get them to grow, and then drop them right into the floating raft like that when they're done. So what we'll do is we'll follow this through, and I'll let you know how it worked here. Should know in about 3-4 weeks. Okay, I've got them all planted, and now what I'm going to do is spread a little soil over the top of this, and then I'm going to go and water this whole thing so that it's nice and moist to start with. So to start with, I'm just going to go ahead and let all this get soaked in here. Well, not soaked, but get a nice bed of water in here, and it'll dry out. Well, it'll get just to where it's moist later on. Then I'll use a watering can to, sprinkler to just keep it moist until these come up. And with a little luck, it's nice and warm in the greenhouse now, and the winter's over. With a little luck, these should all germinate, I would think, in a week or so. And then we shall see if this theory of mine works. If I can just drop them right into the floating raft, and they'll take off, and everybody will be happy, and everybody will like life. So here we go. Let's see, a little more water. So you know what I've got in here. Let's see. Yeah, that's probably plenty in there. Now what I've got in here is some purple cherry tomatoes. I got those online. A row of beefsteak, a row of brandy wine, 2 rows of brandy wine juiced. Now, there's another video I did a while ago where I actually took some brandy wine tomatoes and I juiced them, and I got the seeds out of them. Well, these are those seeds. And I've got some Roma, some cabbage, and some yellow wonder pepper, and some regular red cherry tomatoes, and some market more, I think they call them cucumbers. So there's kind of a variety here. There's tomatoes and cabbage and peppers and cucumbers, and let's see if they all come up. And time to do a little update on how planting the cabbage worked. Now I have to confess I got a little ahead of myself here, and I've already pulled the cabbage out of here and put it in the greenhouse in the aquaponic setup. But anyway, if you remember, we started here, and I planted some cabbage right in here with these little grow cups, and they did grow. They did really well. So let's go down to the main greenhouse where I've already put them in the aquaponic setup, and we'll show you how they looked, how it worked. It worked really good. Here are those little cabbage plants. Let's walk over here and show you. Now look at that. See, there are basically these 1, 2, 3 rows, and look, they're doing quite well. The light's awfully bright in here. I hope this camera is working. But what I did, like I told you before, is I just pulled them out of the where I planted them in that little planter thing in the south greenhouse, dropped them right in here, and they've been in here for a couple of days now, and they're doing great. So we'll watch these for a while and see how well they take off.